Welcome back to another episode of Liberty and Morality Defined presents Let It Go. The most difficult lesson, I think, to learn by anyone is to let things go. And actually, I want to clarify that statement. I don't mean to let go of the acts of transgressions people commit against others. The act of receiving vindication is immensely useful in growing and accelerating the internal healing processes, granting mercy and showing truly meaningful forgiveness. What I mean is the idea that voluntarists and those whom recognize the potential of voluntary interactions and producing more positive results than coercive actions have to keep trying to help people all the time. Absolutely, helping others has a far greater potential payout for positivity in the future than not helping, but it is not mandatory to be a voluntarist. All that such includes is respecting the consent of others to be interacted with. Voluntarism is not a philosophy that is rooted in ensuring conformity. That is what government and religion and a lot of other spiritually based ideologies do with the concept of karma and so on. The philosophy of voluntarism is about recognizing what you can change, why you should or should not change, and how you can change whatever it is that you can change. Most importantly, and the absolutely only thing that you can change is yourself. I'm not dismissing science that says you cannot change yourself, as someone will inevitably bring up. All that science says at the end of the day is that we are genetically programmed one way. That science, in all of its glory, never says that the programming cannot be altered. So when we are seeking to make a positive difference in the world, that difference should start with ourselves as individuals. Forgive, but do not forget the actions of others. Yet do what you can to understand the motive, the context of their actions. We have to let go of trying to help others who refuse to listen to reason. I don't mean this as a generic blanket statement. There is obviously a difference between an amateur tinkerer trying to build a massive weapon of destruction to get revenge on his former jerk of an employer and someone who demands that those who vote are the reason why the current political powers are corrupt. So many who teach the idea of respecting consent as a means to dissent against the status quo of government as it currently exists in practice around the world, whether they call it the non-aggression principle, voluntarism, agorism, or even just the free market, end up treating their potential students the same as the apathetic and champions of government do theirs, by holding them in a hostile, fearful contempt because they disagree and cannot fathom why they choose to be the way they are. We cannot change everything. We cannot always accomplish the things we want to make happen on the timetables we think they should be completed. What we can do is to continually improve ourselves. We often end up being stuck on stepping stones of thought when we decide to take paths which just justify generic hostility and shaming, condescending, and guilt-tripping attitudes. We end up not realizing the words and acts we employ are hostile. We become desensitized to the things that create monsters out of us. This can lead more often than we realize to accomplishing such actions as normal, perhaps even leading us to becoming dumbfounded at how increasingly stupid people are in rejecting our ideas without a shred of comprehension as to why. This persistent rejection of recognizing the unintended consequences of our actions can lead us to be unnecessarily cynical and even nihilistic in nature. All it means at the end of the day is that we forgot to ensure we teach ourselves first, daily. Accept the state of reality that everyone is at a different point of philosophical comprehension. These, of course, range wildly from very little and an absolute rejection of caring about it at all to rigidly consistent with a failure to be willing to teach others to help themselves, at the very least. Recognize that there are people whom are further ahead of the same path you are on, just as there are people behind you and on similar paths, even if you never find someone walking immediately next to you. It is inevitable that people will conclude or assume they know better than you do. Well, that's okay. If they reject constructive criticisms to their approach with you and fail to acknowledge them peacefully, then it's fine to move on. All you have to do in order to make sure that people are your equals in philosophical consistency is that they at least are willing to recognize that they are fallible and can make mistakes, and are willing to listen to reason and change their opinions, even if it means that they have to continuously change their opinions, or you have to continuously change your opinions, or some combination of it. Vindication from these encounters is almost certainly impossible if they're not willing to listen to reason. But what is possible, and with a greater degree of ease, is to simply self-reflect and write out your own philosophy. Create a reason why you think something should be done. Ask yourself how it can be done. Who does this apply to? What will this accomplish? What does this need to happen to be effective? Where will this be useful? How will this be accomplished? Why is this important? These are just a few questions to help you get started. We can't help everyone. Sometimes it feels as if we can't help anyone at all. So who can you help in this case? If not anyone else, why not yourself? That's what a lot of podcasts and internet shows are meant to do. Help those who create them by showing the world what they are doing to help themselves. So the next time you come across someone who doesn't seem to understand the point you're making, whether they be for or against your position, regardless of what they may advocate, decline to interact further with the individual and explore the reasons why you think they failed concerning your own arguments. But if we don't actually analyze our own philosophical positions, our own actions, and try to make sure that we rigidly and consistently ask questions of ourselves, seek some kind of outside opinion about our own philosophies, and to test them, then we're never going to be able to perfect them, and we'll end up on a stepping stone of thought, which actually stunts our ability to move forward and tends to create a lot of enemies whom know better than us, whom are also learning, and end up coming after us with this mad, crazed vengeance. For now, I'd like to thank you for your time. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and give it a thumbs up. I base all of my work on my books Liberty Defined and Morality Defined. If you'd like to encourage more content like this, please visit my website, jimlimberdavis.com, to explore more of my works. Download free copies of my books and consider donating even just $1. Thank you so much for taking a peacefully proactive solution in raising humanity's pinnacles of success faster and more efficiently through peaceful comprehension and creation instead of hostile ridicule and destruction.